back to Mainstream Matchups, and we're here to discuss Week 6 EPL highlights with our man Sam D, soccer analyst. I wanted to jump into the Man United game versus the Wolves. It ended in a draw 1-1. How'd you have it?
I had it at 1-1.
So you just called that perfectly.
I couldn't be more excited.
And to call a draw is one thing, but to end up getting the result too, from what a perspective outside looking in is, you would think Man United would roll over the Wolves.
They have not been doing too well this year. They're a team, again, that in a day in which everybody just plays out of their mind, could beat anybody. But generally, they've been giving us C, C plus, maybe rating games.
And that can almost lead into right into the chemistry and the problems that are going on with Man United right now. What's going on with Pogba and Jose Mourinho?
Dude, when I was in Seville 2-3 years ago, I was writing a comparative sort of paper on Mourinho and Wenger. And I said that Mourinho is a good coach, obviously. I mean, you can't win as much as he's won without being a good coach. But he has this energy, right, that is similar to that of Simeone from Atletico. But there's a distinction, right? Is that Mourinho's does turn to burnout, right? And it seems that the third year, this whole us against um, the world type of thing, right? It does, you know, uh, at some point it burns out, and then you see these these rumors, these,
Yeah,
things that just do not help in having a good flowing, good
cohesive team.
chemistry, cohesive team.
And I would
Yeah.
like, and I'd even add to that to say, a few weeks ago he was in a loss, was going and like trying to go get energy from the crowd to like try to say like, oh, can we still do this together? And when that happened, I almost was worried about his job. But when he came back with, played a few weeks after that, they played pretty nice. I'm pretty sure. But now I'm really concerned. I feel like he's looking to find a problem with anything right now, and he'll use anybody as that scapegoat.
Right. So this energy again, right? It goes at some point. It's not. It goes. The circle becomes smaller, right? It is the team against the world, and it is certain members of the team against the world, and at some point it is Mourinho against the world, kind of thing. And if he gets to the point where it is Mourinho versus the world, and in which Pogba is in the team of the world,
Yep.
right? That means the fans then have to choose between Pogba and Mourinho, and that is like I think where you're touching, where now he's trying to get the fans, but he can only get half of the fans.
Yeah,
Because
a lot of uncertainty.
yeah, there are fans that do love Mourinho no matter what, right? And there are fans that if we start losing, right, they never really quite love Mourinho that much. So then they go back to, oh, we don't really like his attitude, we don't like this, we don't like that. And if Pogba is added to that, now I have to choose between Mourinho and not playing well, and Pogba, I might just go with Mourinho and say that he's the issue.
And even coming off that loss and penalties in UEFA, I really don't know what they're really going to do, because
Yeah.
that was their ticket out of last year, him being able to finish top four, so that it didn't seem so bad when they didn't perform so well. Wait, no, 2 years ago, excuse me. 2 years ago, when they were not performing or performed well and was able to get in UEFA, the next year they weren't able to get into the top four, right? But they were able to. See, I feel like I'm talking in circles right now. But do you understand what I was trying to get at a little bit?
Sorry, no. This,
So unlike Arsenal, who wasn't able to get into UEFA,
right, right.
Man United was able to.
Oh,
But
right,
then the
right.
next year they played poorly, weren't able to play, but they still had
On a
UEFA that year.
technicality,
They
right,
still had UEFA that year. They
right,
still
right,
had something where it was like, well, we're still playing in this. You don't
right,
have to worry about the league this year.
right,
So I almost gave him an outing that year. And
right,
now I'm worried about now what is he going to try to do this year? Because he never
right,
wants to be the person who is at fault.
right. Dude, how? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He's not gonna win the league. He's not gonna. He doesn't have Europe. There's no way. But, yeah, he doesn't have Europe, right?
Well, he just got they just got taken out in penalties in UEFA.
No, no,
Are you talking?
that was what's it called? The Carabao Cup.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was the
Excuse me. Yep.
Carabao Cup. Right? Um, no, man. Yeah, man, he is playing somewhere in Europe. I'm just not sure if I do. What did they end up last year? I think they did end up third place, right?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure Man U is playing Champions League, and I just cannot imagine that they're gonna win anything in the Champions League. But I'll have to
Yeah.
go back and check. Yeah, but dude, you get kicked out of the Carabao Cup. That is like, I guess it's not the end of the world,
Yeah, I'm gonna have
but
to
it's
excuse
just
you out of the Carabao Cup,
yeah,
not not the UEFA Cup.
right. And it's not the it's the smallest of the tournaments, right? Of the trophies. Um, it used to be the tournament in which you would bring your U19s, your prospects, right? So it's not the end of the world, but there are too many bad things building up. They're not going to win the league, right? Liverpool is looking awesome, and if you're anybody that's like older than, I don't know, 25, you understand that Liverpool doing well while Man U not doing well is not a good thing, you know? You look at Manchester City and nothing can go wrong over there, right? There's a whole Ed Woodward thing. It's just at some point you get dejected, you know? And yeah, like, and Mourinho's had his chances at the same time, you know?
I
And also you're a big team. You're a big team. You're a Man U. You just cannot be. You're looking to win every year, right? Normally,
How do you think Sir Alex Ferguson would look on this team?
dude, it was bad. It was bad that he came. I read an article saying Sir Alex's fortress is no longer like basically, right? And he came from his brain tumor surgery and stuff. He came in there. People gave him an applause, and then they they get a goal and they can't preserve it, right? And Man United is trying to preserve a goal against Wolverhampton.
Yeah, I I just don't see how you're gonna go ahead and let who's their forwards? What type of attack do they have right now? And let them be able to walk all over you. I understand what they probably were doing. They were sucking in, probably trying to invite it to a counter. But if you're just getting beat in the regular game of play, how are you going to go ahead and justify that this is what we need to do if it's not working?
I called earlier. I said, man, it's gonna depend on how they play without um, Matic, because again, I haven't been impressed by how Fred and Pogba play together. I think again that Fred tends to babysit Pogba too much, and Pogba needs his space, you know. And he's matured enough that he will get the ball and he will play responsibly. Right? It seems flashy and stuff like that, but he's proved it. He's proven many times that he is trustworthy. Like he is reliable on the ball. You leave him in the middle of the field, one on one with anybody, right? And he'll bring the ball from his right leg to his left leg, and most people can't go that fast, right? To be able to
That is a long distance to cover.
exactly, exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? And so if Fred happens to be right in the nearby area, right, then that means that there's a close by defender who does impede, right, Pogba's right, because Pogba's not the quick little Iniesta that's gonna go,
No,
you
he
know,
needs to be able to have his space to be able to develop what
exactly,
he needs to go and do.
exactly,
And I think what hurts them a lot too is because when they try to like stay back, I feel like when they go out wide, they get caught in the middle, and then they just get countered on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's just it's really. I mean, it's too. Everything is just they can't move freely, right? With this kind of thing, right? And so like I think they get too pulled one side, too pulled another side, right? And then if you have literally your two of your midfielders right in the same area, right? What happens is when one loses the ball, they both basically are beat, right? Which opens up this space to run into, right? Versus having one get the ball and the other one being a cover, then as soon as one loses it, the other one, what I mean? It's sort of like going from positive one to negative one, not even zero, you know?
I think it's safe to say that Man United has a lot of things they need to be able to fix, and they need to fix it soon if they want to be able to have a chance at top four.
Exactly.
Next matchup I want to talk about is Liverpool versus Southampton. 3-0. How'd you feel about their
Oh man,
performance?
man, yo, I've been psyched about Shakiri on the team, right? It almost brings tears to my eyes, right? Because Shakiri at 13 million is what? Do you understand? This guy went to this dude went to Bayern, right? And it didn't work out very well over there. Not because he doesn't have the skills, right? The
Just the
guy has
talent around
skills.
him.
The guy has the talent. The guy has raw talent. The guy can shoot. He can sprint. He's strong. Like he's he's not scared. You know what I mean? I look at that and I think, man, why doesn't the coach take a gamble on such a talent? You know? And in the EPL, right? He was stuck. Where was it? Was he at Sunderland or something? I can't remember.
Or
Stoke.
Stoke.
He was at
Stoke
Stoke,
City.
right? And he was doing well over there, right? You got these Bojans and stuff like that that failed in Spain, come around in the EPL, and in the Stokes they play well, right? And so like I don't know if coaches are like, well, if they didn't work out in the Barca, what I mean, sort of setting, what I mean, where like everything has to work out in a certain thing, maybe they can't work in a system, dude. But that is insane because Barca's like, their their requisites for like fitting into a thing is like you know, top of the charts, right? You could maybe not ask a player to be 90% of what I mean. You could ask him to satisfy just 80%, right? And I think that in Liverpool, maybe he doesn't function at Bayern, right? But maybe he could function at Liverpool, and they gave him. And the thing is, they gave him freedom, right? Which is another thing. He doesn't even have to function, right? Say I the guy doesn't function within the formation, so let's just let him go, right? And then everybody else sort of, he comes into your area, you balance, right? And then it's just, and not necessarily, and it doesn't have to be too extreme of a thing, right? It doesn't have to be one person. He comes into your area, you completely run into the open space over there. No, you just shift a little bit, somebody else shifts a little bit, somebody else shifts a little bit, and then we're
Yeah,
balanced,
then
right?
that has a lot to do with the discipline to be able the pieces around him to work with him
Exactly,
as well.
exactly. And so it does talk about Liverpool's, chemistry where they're at. You know, Wijnaldum. You and I were going back at it. I was like, ah, man, I like Wijnaldum, but I don't know what you're saying. At this point, we have to. But
I'm
dude,
telling you, man. I'm telling you.
this guy has come in good. He's come good. He's come super good. I was also impressed by like the exchange between Milner and Henderson, and also the right back, right? Um, Alexander Arnold. Alexander Arnold,
Yep,
right?
the youngin.
Exactly, right? So like it was interesting how they were doing it, right? So they were playing a 4-2-3-1, right? Um, and what Henderson would do, right, is like it was funny, right? So Alexander Arnold would push up a little bit, right, and then I think Milner had come into where Wijnaldum was, which was the right defensive mid, right? He would come in and almost play as a third center back, right? And because most of the time Robertson is going up, and then towards the end of the game he was actually going up, right? So he would come in, play as a third back, pushing Alexander up, right? And then and Henderson, right, would sometimes go out wide into rather Milner would go up, push Henderson out wide. It was just like a little, those balls, those physics balls that just right, and it was just nice as it was just sort of like a line that would just shift across, right, and it wouldn't just shift across, but it would also sort of dip into the center back, right, position, and dude, it was interesting to see.
I think that has a lot to do. That has a lot to do with discipline, defensively, shape, and positioning wise. What I'm seeing right now is Southampton has a decent team too. So to be able to get a good win against them, what's their record? Southampton right now is 1-2-3, which is a slow start. They have good, decent pieces around them,
Right,
which they should be doing better. It's kind of one of those iffier teams because not too long ago that was a team that was pushing in the top 10.
yeah, it just they just looked like they didn't have any ideas really. Uh,
That's what happens when you get.
yeah, when you're playing against the club said he wants Liverpool to be the ugliest team to play against, right? And it is these guys are awesome. They play like wolves, really, right? If you see how they like break, they break attacks, right? Um, there's one play, right, in which the a ball was passed to the goalkeeper, right, and there was a forward running onto it, right, and forward was running from like a good 25 yards out, right, and I see just one of the center backs just cut him out, right, like literally just cut in front of him real quick, right, and just that hesitation, right, creates a lot of time, right? And just time for your center, your goalkeeper to look up and to be able to play. These kind of things, right? Somebody takes one lane, right? Another person goes off the shoulder, right? And then the third person comes in, and just because you're forced, literally, they will force you, right? By their position, they will force you to go one direction, in which one person just comes in hard, right? He just takes the ball over, and he comes in hard, takes the ball away at a running speed, and then they break right away, right? So like, there's always somebody confronting you, right? Or there's somebody confronting you, forcing you to turn back, and there's somebody running. There's a forward running at you, right? Like yo,
They're doing
stop,
the little details right. And
literally.
what I like to say is I think we can say Liverpool is putting on a strong show in the start of the season.
Dude,
Who did you have winning that game?
I had, of course, Liverpool. I had them winning, I believe, 3-2-1.
Gotcha. Next matchup I want to talk about is Man City versus Cardiff City. I think you almost called this one perfect as well too. It was a 5-0 Man City with the victory. How'd you feel about that game?
Oh, dude, I wrote 3-1, but then I described it, of course, as it's gonna be a blowout. Um, Manchester City. The only thing that's gonna stop them at this point is this time, right? The wear and you know the wear of the EPL.
You're just hoping age just affects them enough where they just can't do it no more.
Not age, but time is in like they're fresh right now, so like a fresh Manchester City is just gonna run through everybody, right? But then the EPL does grind you, right? You do get into contact with the Stokes and
It's
stuff like
one of
that.
the best defensive leagues I would say.
Exactly.
Arguably, easily.
Physically,
Yeah,
right? And so then they'll get slowed down by that, and then now teams can sort of like, you know, they don't function so well, right? So then there become weaknesses, openings, and then teams can now score.
There's rumors about Leroy Sané getting having a possible linkage to Juventus. Do you think Man City would be able to work well without their boy Sané, the German?
Um, I think yes. I think yes, most definitely. Um, they have plenty of guns. They have Mares, who's literally a carbon copy, right? And a bit more experience in the EPL. So even so, some people might even argue that he's an even better fit actually um, for Manchester City, right? So an example, Dembele has been killing it for Barca, right? But until now, he's looked like not necessarily quite fitting, right? Because he's one of these players that needs to be given space and stuff like that, and not necessarily the one that But he's showing, what I mean, that he can function actually, right? He's got his little
Yeah,
edge,
he's a
right?
technical wizard. I get
Exactly.
what you mean.
Yes.
It's kind of upsetting a little bit to hear that he needs a lot of space
Right.
because he's a winger, isn't he?
Right. But he's a winger, but
Aren't don't
he's
you need?
coming in and he's showing his stuff, right?
Okay, yeah,
So I, so I think Mahrez actually can. What's his name? Sane goes in and he goes in hard and fast and right, but Mahrez can stay inside, right, and can play as an attacking mid. I think, right. So Bernardo Silva in the same way,
yeah.
right, and then yet he's still explosive enough out in
I
the
would
wing.
I would say if you were to describe the two, you would see Mares is a more technical, skillful. Then you have the more athletic, just power in Leroy Sané. That's what I would kind of say.
Yeah, yeah. I think not. This is, but I think what he has a bit more control in his dribble. Right? While I think Leroy's is more flair, and I think it works very well. Right? It's very dangerous. He takes down many players, but I think in the end, Leroy needs to do a bit more to beat players, while Mahrez just sort of dips his shoulders, shoots. Right? And I think Pep would like more of that because that's the control.
Just want to check with you. Mares isn't on Chelsea, right?
No, Mahrez is a Manchester City.
Okay, just checking.
Right, right, right. Yeah, and I think Pep likes the more control of the players, you know. While again, if he was to go at clubs, he'd be just do the run, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think so. Whether Manchester City sells this player to Juventus or not, has to. I think what they should do is they should think we want to win the we want to win the Champions League, right?
Hmm.
Juve right now is a big contender, right, to win the Champions League.
Just recently
Right.
signing Ronaldo, yes,
Exactly. Right.
with already big pieces around him. So
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
Dybala, oof.
Are you sure you want to give Juve Sane as well? Because they can definitely can afford to keep him. I'm sure. Right. Or they can sell him to somebody else.
Well,
Maybe
Man
sell him.
City also has a lot of people who are performing well right now. Bernardo Silva,
Right.
Phil Foden.
It's true. It's true. I mean, you might want to let Foden actually. You know what I mean? But again, if you're letting Foden do that, right, then maybe it was better not to get what's his name, Mahrez, right? Because I'm saying that Mahrez is a better attacking mid than Sane is, right? And our wide Mahrez is very good, but I think Sane might edge him on that, right? So why not just let Foden just be your attacking mid, and there you go,
True.
right?
Or what is this a big ploy? Like, okay, we sell Sane, get a bunch of money to go ahead and put towards somebody else. Who do you think maybe they're out there fishing for? Is there
Oh
anybody?
my!
Is there anybody out there worth doing that?
I suppose Mbappe.
Mbappe.
Mbappe,
Oh,
Mbappe, Mbappe might be nice.
oh my
But
goodness!
you
You
get,
heard it here first. Mbappe is gonna go to Man City.
oh my goodness, bro. You get,
He
you
would
get,
get so much
if
more
you get,
coverage.
if you get Mbappe, right, at Manchester City, right, then you keep, what's his name, Jesus. You get, then, I'm sorry,
Oh
then
my,
you,
that's
Kun, you
just,
gotta get
oh
rid of,
my
then you
goodness.
gotta get rid of Kun.
That's fine. You know how young? Oh my, you could have like 15 years of success with that.
And you might not even have to get rid of him, Kun, right, because, right, Kun,
Well, he
and
is getting older.
he's getting older. I mean, just wait a couple of years and then he'll for sure just leave, right? And in the meantime, you can play Mbappe for sure. You can play him out wide, right? You can still so Jesus and Kun can play in the middle, right? Just keep your 4-3-3, and then Mahrez out wide, right? Sharing time with Sterling, right? Or Mahrez coming in, working with Foden. Um, so somehow mix Mahrez, Foden, and Silva, right? And then the other Silva definitely has to go, right? I think Fernandinho keeps his space, his place. Laporte is good. I mean, the defense is very good. The defense is very
This
good.
is all speculation, of course, but that would be amazing. I would
That is
love that.
that is power. That is power.
Oh,
Speed, finesse, shooting. That is just everything,
and the best part is he was able to showcase all of that in the World Cup.
Mbappe.
Everybody was talking about the kid, and then you go ahead and live up to it. Oh, that was so beautiful.
I wonder how I just wonder, right, how far he can go, right? Because until now he's stayed relatively injury free. But the way the kid runs, like I mean, he's just an athlete, man.
He's just faster than you.
Right? He's
And then
faster than
without the ball,
and he'll take every kind of angle. You know, he will like you somehow. And I think about this, right? I think injury prevention in the way I play, right? So I try to stay off like too sharp, unnecessary sharp angles, right, on my runs, right? I think there's a way to ease up on it yet still be explosive, right? But this dude is just boom, 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 and I mean, it's awesome to be able to count on that. Right?
what I saw in the World Cup was this super cheeky pass to Griezmann on the top of the box where he gets the ball, quick flick. It's just the man is fearless.
Right.
He'll do what he needs to do or what he just in his mind just pops. He just like boom, I'll do it,
Exactly.
and it works.
And it doesn't even seem like you should be able to do that, right? Because like you see the way Neymar does it so eloquently. Mbappe says, if I can't do it so eloquently, I'm gonna still do it.
It's just rough, but
right,
it's just it's just
right.
dirty and it
Exactly.
works.
Exactly.
See, and the funny thing with Neymar, you know he's tender to the touch.
Right.
Mbappe, I felt he was leaning towards that, like
Right.
especially in the World Cup. You could see he was starting to edge towards like that type of player who was like, oh, well, I'll just do that type of stuff too, which worries me. I do not want our young player and our young talents to like trend towards Neymar. We don't. I just don't want to see flopping in the game. That's like the generation now is missing a gap, which our generation didn't miss with Messi or Ronaldo, somebody who wasn't giving up every single time on the ball.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why I feel. So too much of that is bad, right? But at the same time, it seems like, dude, in sports there are rules, right? There are ways of playing, but at the same time, we know more profoundly, right? You got to go on the field and you got to figure out what trick works, right? So that's why you got people poking each other, right? Sometimes we don't necessarily have to go at that, right? But I touch you on the shoulder, run the other way, right? Or I look as you're looking to pass, I look down as if I didn't see you, right? And then as soon as you look down, I'm running at you, right? You gotta figure out these things, right? And I'm saying that where do you draw the line? You know, where do you draw the line? Right? How hard does somebody kick you for you to come down? So like,
and I think a lot of it gets lost because when you see it on TV, it doesn't look as bad.
right,
But if you were to see it in person,
right,
a lot of them look worse than it seems. It's kind of like your side your side mirror, and it says this image is closer than it appears.
right.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of just kind of it's a little false. That said, though, Neymar over exaggerates a little bit too much, and
Right.
everybody looks up to him,
Right.
and
right,
especially our younger kids. I don't really necessarily like that.
right.
But let's get back.
Yeah, and there might be bigger problems in FIFA than the Neymar issue, right? I mean, there's the
Well, we know that is all
Right.
corruption, all right there. But
exactly.
to get back into the nicer
Oh
moments,
man, I am looking at this Manchester City team, and these dudes just look awesome in their striped shirts.
is that new? Is that a new kit?
Yeah, I mean, just look at this thing. Look at that thing. Look at these guys,
Ooh,
man. They just look distinguishable from like everybody else. You know?
man, that's a scary top three.
Right, man.
And
I'm. S-
I was super high on Sterling when he started to blow up at
yeah,
Liverpool.
yeah.
I thought this man was the next Messi,
Right,
and then you know what? He wasn't. He couldn't score,
right.
but that man still creates a lot of
Yeah,
opportunities. He just
don't give up on him because he wasn't the next Messi, and I think we
oh,
have a tendency
that's
to
true.
do
That's
that.
good perspective to keep. Let's move on to Arsenal versus Everton. Arsenal got a victory 2-0. What did Arsenal do to get that victory against Everton?
I think it's what did Everton not do. You know, um, first 4 minutes, right? There was a chance, 2 versus 1. Right, this forward could have passed it to, I think it was
Oh
Richarlison
no,
open,
Galactic
and what did he do? He tried to beat Jack.
by himself.
Yes,
Yep.
right.
So he lost that
Exactly.
deflection out. I'm sure.
Imagine what would have happened then.
If you start one up real
Exactly.
quick, Arsenal is not the team to
No,
really be
no.
able to come back from deficits. They're always a team that needed to get one up on you, and then they keep that, and then they ride that possession.
Exactly. Exactly. Arsenal scores 1 goal, and they become not a C level team, but a B level team, right? Then they score a second goal. Now you start to look a bit nervous. Now they can maybe add a bit more, or they could lose that too, right? So that tells you, how important that goal would have been for them.
Well, it could have changed the entire perspective of the game. It could have changed everything.
Exactly.
Do you see anything from Everton? Do you see that they'll be able to make it that next step in these next couple of years?
Um, I was watching their midfield, and Arsenal was ready for the picking. Really, Everton just blew it. Again, it's Ghana. Idrissa Gueye is from Senegal, right? So normally I should have a bias, for right, Idrissa Gueye, but he's too small, and I don't. He's not your Fernandinho. He can't. Fernandinho wins the ball, right? Fernandinho can definitely. You underestimate his passing capability, but he's shown it, right? He can score, right? He's got
And that's
just
why I think he's relied on too, because he's solid.
for Brazil. I was just watching Brazil versus Belgium the other day, and
Ooh.
Fernandinho was a monster, dude. So
Especially that center defensive room.
exactly.
Was Casemiro right with him,
Casemiro,
or was
no,
he
Casemiro
attacking?
was out in that game, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. So
I really like his
I think,
physical presence
yeah,
too. So
that would have helped. But literally, you can give 30-yard range, right, radius to Fernandinho, and he'll control it very well, right? And I think giving 30 yards to Gay is not necessarily gonna get you the same result. But he was able to do that. He was able to impose himself on Arsenal. I was thinking, wow, Arsenal, right? Like I'm saying, we're not talking about Vidal, breaking. We're talking about Idrissa Gueye and Xhaka, and Idrissa Gueye. I'm not saying Idrissa Gueye like against Xhaka only. I'm saying Idrissa Gueye against Xhaka against the other midfield presence there, right?
I would like to say, I think what I'm worried about is this win fool's gold for Arsenal because they didn't play very well, and Everton literally you say was the reason they lost. So
Bro, you fake it till you make it, right? So I
yeah.
suppose if Arsenal keeps playing like this and keeps winning, at some point they'll have the confidence that they actually are this good until somebody pops their bubble, right? So,
Hopefully no time soon.
right. So no, so like if I'm not hoping, but if you're an Arsenal fan, you hope, and I don't know who they're playing after these games, right? You hope that they keep playing bad enough teams, right?
Well, Arsenal plays Watford next.
Exactly, right? Too good, but that's a team that could possibly miss out on taking the chances against Arsenal, right? And Arsenal has now built up enough resistance that maybe a couple of games ago they would not have been able to take Watford, but now they can. Understand?
I think that's a good place to end on that. And I think we need more time with Arsenal. And like you said, I hopefully it goes in the direction of being able to get that confidence to be able to steer them in the right direction and not get their bubble burst.
I'm hoping as a Liverpool fan that they stay out of our way.
Selfish. Uh, our next matchup is West Ham versus Chelsea that ended in a draw 0-0. Are you surprised?
Yes and no, right?
Is it more Chelsea maybe underperforming or West Ham actually living up to what they were supposed to be?
Go back to last week, and maybe I sounded a bit different, right? But again, I keep bringing up the fact that Jorginho's playing well, Hazard's yes playing well, Kante's playing well. You got the left back that plays well, right? But as a team, it's a slow car. You know, it's a very slow car that moves and moves and moves. That surely doesn't move forward, and at times something kicks in and then they score. But it's not like things have to tick more. Again, I think Jorginho does too much. I think too much depends on him. Maybe I wasn't too fair with him. I watched a guy who analyzed his game and talked about, well, Jorginho doesn't a lot of times doesn't care about getting the ball. In fact, he moves it here, he moves it there, and he seems like a coach on the field. You know, but again, a coach on the field trying to centralize this attack is hard, right? Trying to manage it from just one guy, right? I'm saying if they're all doing stuff, which Liverpool, you seem like you see one guy running and you see another guy running in, and like what I mean. But here is Jorginho's telling him move here, move there, move this, and it seems just too rehearsed almost. And so I could see how they tried too much and it just didn't work. They needed to just break something at some point. Somebody just decided,
And,
abandon
and you
and
have a
just
lot of talent
yeah,
there, and I don't know why you wouldn't go ahead and just kind of go with the flow of
yeah,
one of these games and see what happens.
exactly,
Because, like you said, if you're going through Jorginho for everything,
right,
how do you think another team is going to game plan for you?
exactly, right. Let the guy get the ball. Let him get all his passing records and all that,
Yep.
right? Just create this big boundary around him.
And a lot of people are getting upset because now they feel like Conte is being misused.
Right.
Because they're only using Jorginho, it seems, and now you put Conte in the attack, and now it seems like, well, he's the one who shuts down and breaks all the attack from the other team.
Right.
But now you have him in a position where he can't do it.
Right. And a lot of good attacks come from winning the ball. Right? That's when you surprise the team. And Kante in front, winning the ball, pushing it forward, is a thing that could be missing.
He was a vital piece to France winning their World Cup.
Right. Yeah. And from down here, he could actually go forward as well. This might be just one bump, but next game, right? Tottenham, I felt would be a high-scoring game with Liverpool. Chelsea's might be if Liverpool allows them to score early on, and now Liverpool has to score and opens themselves up. Chelsea scores, and Liverpool surely will score. Again, in that analysis, the guy pointed out some things that maybe I didn't notice about Jorginho, right? But what he also pointed out that I didn't notice was the guy's defensive game is a bit weak. He's soft. You cannot have again a guy in the middle who's too soft.
Especially when you're having bigger center mids and bigger forwards day in day out.
Exactly. And I'm saying Liverpool is that team that the midfielder is gonna run at you. So if you can't be the first line to break that, right? That means the midfielder just got past you with the ball, and he has Salah running behind you, Mane running behind you, Firmino running behind you, right? You're in trouble.
That is scary.
Right? Again, Wijnaldum before was a bit iffy, but he's showing that he could score too. Like,
yeah.
He's getting his chances.
Not just connecting the attack.
Exactly, right? He's bringing it forward. Now he's not bringing it from the defense to no, dude. He's bringing it forward. into the goal or into the striker, right?
That's what I like to hear.
And we're gonna have to see how Hazard does. Virgil van Dijk, he's hurt. Um, Joe Gomez came in for him, and bad news again for everybody else. Joe Gomez is looking more like Van Dijk every game. He came in there and dude, his speed, he did not set many. His footing was good. I mean, Matip could be better, but I was really impressed with his speed. At some point, he was running forward, trying to get the ball, trying to get a goal, right? And he got a goal on a header, right? So I'm saying if Virgil van Dijk has a calming effect on Joe Gomez, right? And then Joe Gomez takes that, becomes himself a Virgil van Dijk, right? And he has a this influence on others, right? Now that means that Liverpool is a bit more resistant, right, to injuries, right? Van Dijk gets injured, Matip comes in, we're still fine, right? Joe gets hurt, Matip comes in, we're fine. Who else can we bring in, right? They might get some of this, this aroma, this oh my goodness, bro.
Man, you're feeling good over here.
Liverpool, bro. Liverpool, bro.
Well, let's end on. Let's get into our next matchup. Brighton versus Tottenham. Tottenham came with a victory 2-1. Anything much to say? They needed this victory.
They needed this victory. It had been, dude, they were on a sequence of losses, and just, it would have been disastrous, I think, man. It's good that we have the distraction in Manchester United. You know, for Tottenham, it's good that Arsenal is doing better, but is still below Tottenham, and everybody still has the expectation that Tottenham will beat Arsenal in the standings.
That sounds awful. This is not what the things I want to hear, Sam.
C'est la vie, bro. C'est la
You know,
vie.
honestly, I want Spurs to go in with some momentum because they do have a new stadium coming out that'll be out around Christmas time. You know, that's an 850 million or some pound home or whatnot. And I just want to see like them be able to bring good energy into their new stadium. But Arsenal needs to go ahead and not let them be able to be beaten. Because if you can go ahead and stay with getting these victories, however you can do it, then that's what they need to do. And stay ahead of Spurs.
Tell me how much they're spending again.
For the stadium?
Yeah.
850 million pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Tottenham has grown. Tottenham has grown up, right? Arsenal has grown old.
Oh, jeez, your words cut like a knife.
I know. I'm sorry, man. I see now Tottenham as like an Inter Milan. You know,
Okay.
you go to Tottenham and they have like an aura of like a fortress, right? And I think this new stadium will help in that marketing. The Emirates seems just like a fluff. It's expensive, but again, it doesn't have the history yet, and it doesn't have like the playing. You know, we haven't had 2 years of victories. You know, 2 years of rising up. We were like, it is not a fortress in the sense of history, but it is a fortress in the sense of these players that we have here will defend it. You know, we play in these brilliant lights and stuff like that, but yeah, we still have industrious people. You know, Arsenal just has money, right? But money that's not being used on the players. You know, I mean, it's
Very frustrating.
It just looks like this rich dude's mansion and stuff like that, and then these dudes that
You
are
know what it
paid,
reminds me
you
of?
know, to just
It reminds me of like a museum.
right, dude,
Like you can look at it, but you can't touch.
right.
Oh, we could do that, but we're not going
But
to.
I'm saying, but the thing is, the museum is AC Milan. Arsenal, Highbury was a museum. Arsenal is this modern castle, and he sets us up like these players and stuff like that. Dude, at least bring human beings to play. You know what I mean? Bring some sweat, bring some, you know what I mean? Tottenham, that's what they have. They're gonna have this thing, you know, this brilliant, beautiful and stuff like that. But they'll bring Ali, they'll bring people, you know, and then you have Liverpool, where you do have that, that sense, right?
Yeah, I
And
get you.
they have gladiators. They have these
They
players.
have their warriors,
Exactly. Now
their
these
Sokka warriors.
exactly the thing that's missing now is that these players, these gladiators, now write their names onto the arena. That's the only thing that's
So
missing, bro.
you're just waiting for the pass down.
Exactly.
That
I'm saying
generational where they are the ones.
exactly. I'm saying they need to win their trophies and put them in there,
Gotcha.
right? But we have a team that is that. Arsenal has the stadium is bright, but it doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have a soul yet.
Only time for them to be able to get their soul in their stadium. I wanted to kind of just run through the next matchups. They're kind of one of the less talked about games. We got Fulham versus Watford that ended in a draw, 1-1. Uh, you want to say a little quick thing about that?
Watford is good, right? And they're going to give their next opponent a run for their money. I
You
am.
have it out for Arsenal. Why?
I like Fulham. I like the way they play. I when I was younger, I had a coach that had us do a 4-2-2-2, and I love that formation. Right? I just love the way that people can just rotate.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just very central.
Exactly. I love the distance between people. Right? And so if
Oh.
you then have players that have a mid-range passing ability, right, you could do some damage. And then if they're decently mobile.
So you actually look forward to both these teams. The next matchup is Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. Ended in a draw, 0-0. Anything to say about that game?
I don't know what's going on with Newcastle, but I think that's going to be the team that gets relegated.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace.
I thought they would be able to, with their attack, with the pieces they have. I thought they'd be able to get a goal against Newcastle. It just goes to show that it's still early in the season. And there's still a lot more that we need to learn about these teams.
Exactly. I mean, again, Zaha failed at Man United. Let's not abandon him because of that. But
He almost seems like the player that he isn't gonna stand out like he does if he's on a team of equal parts compared to him being the best on the team
right,
and then having to get other players to show up.
exactly, exactly. But then you bring in other players to show up. Then that means that now he's playing within a team of good players.
So now it's starting to show that he isn't. That's not like exactly his role then.
Dude, it's a circle. And I just wonder, yeah, how far he's going to take you as a player. And is he being overly hyped again? Because in England, you show up for one game and you do well, dude. You are hyped for the next week, month. I don't know. Like in England, it's just crazy.
Yeah, well, they love their football, their
Oh
soccer.
my goodness, man.
The next matchup we have is Leicester City versus Huddersfield Town. Leicester City won 3-1. Anything got to say about that matchup?
Ooh, side comment. The worst thing that happened to England, right, is that they did so well in the World Cup. Now they'll get higher expectations again, and then their team won't live
Oh
up to them again.
no. They did just get over the fact that they were famous for losing in penalties,
Dude,
and then Harry Kane shuts all that down.
dude, these guys think themselves the champions of the world all the time, and these teams they just put too much pressure on their players, right? And finally, expectations went down. Like, oh man, these guys are, you know.
It took them a
But
while
it
to
took them
get
a
off the
while,
hype. Yeah.
right? And then suddenly they do well, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, here comes the English again, and they're gonna put too much pressure on the next kids, and then
So
imagine
you already see it. You already see
Harry
the
Kane
future.
in a couple of years. How much pressure is gonna be on him? Deli Ali, oh, at this point he's matured enough. He should be, dude.
The questions. The questions. I don't have answers for them. But let's move on to our last matchup, which is Burnley versus Bournemouth. Burnley came away with the victory 4-0. I was pretty high on Bournemouth. I wonder kind of what happened because they've been performing well at the beginning of the season. I thought defensively they were strong. So I was just kind of curious to see this result. How do you feel about it?
Dude, I was shocked too. I definitely had Bournemouth winning this game, but Burnley definitely showed up. They had veteran Aaron Lennon show up with he got the man of the match, though he only scored one goal. Barnes scored two, but just seemed like whenever people talk about experience, right, you tend to downplay it, but I think that those were examples. What he did those were examples of experience. With one of his passes to Barnes, he just literally passed it back across the goal. You know, um, and Barnes was running into it and then just shot it in. Like, nothing fancy, just that. Right? Somebody crossed the ball. He kept his eye on it, and then just
Fancy doesn't always get you
exactly.
the result. You know, just being efficient with what you're doing, I think,
Right.
is the best way.
It was one of his goal. The ball literally went over a guy, right? So he would have lost sight of the ball at some point. You'd imagine he had to slide to get it, right? But what tells you the ball is going to arrive there when you arrive there? Only experience, right? He's must have done it plenty of times, failed, and then
He's finally learned.
exactly,
That's beautiful.
exactly.
Let's get into our Week 7 EPL matchups. I kind of want to go through them and just kind of get what you believe is going to happen. I want to get your results. So let's start with Saturday's 6:30 a.m. game, West Ham United versus Man United.
I said that Manchester United will win.
Oh,
But
that must hurt the soul.
oh man, it is hard, right, to say that Manchester United will win this. But I think they'll have to bounce back, and I think there's too much at risk for them not to play out of their shoes.
Got you, got you. Next matchup is Huddersfield versus Tottenham. How do you see that one going?
Tottenham is gonna win this. Um, I'll say Manchester United is going to win it 2-1, but again, it could be the other way. I say Tottenham is going to be winning this game 2-0.
Sounds good. The next matchup is Arsenal versus Watford. I know you were really interested in this matchup. Who do you think's going to win this one?
Watford is an effective team, but Arsenal is riding on a high, and I believe that last week the coach realized that Ganduzi should be playing, and so I think they'll bring him back and they'll do well.
Sounds good.
I'll give you 2-1 because I do not believe that they will be able to shut out Watford, but I would not be shocked if it's 2-2.
I almost kind of want to say that Watford's really going to put up a really good fight in this match,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of nervous. I
Yeah.
almost see it 1-1.
Right.
And then just nerving. Next matchup we got is Wolves versus Southampton. You got Wolves coming off a draw, and then you got
Yes,
Southampton coming off a loss. So
yes, it's going to be Wolves. It's going to be 2-1.
oh, Wolves. I like it. I like it. Next matchup we have is Newcastle United versus Leicester City.
Newcastle, Leicester City. Leicester City is going to win this 2-0.
I would agree with you there. Next matchup we have is Man City, still unbeaten, versus Brighton.
I'm going to go with 3-2.
I like that. So you think they're going to be defensively vulnerable, or what do you think? Is it going to be early goals that get them, or do you think it's just late goals?
I believe in Glenn Murray. I believe in
Ooh,
Glenn Murray.
I like that.
And I just feel like the tides are against Manchester City. At some point, they have to slow down.
Okay.
Or at least maybe
you're hoping
thinking.
everyone was thinking
Right.
that last year, right?
I'm hoping that the chink starts being created now. Right?
The chink in the armor.
Right, just one little thing.
It almost feels like a little tiny scratch, but we will get there,
exactly.
right?
By the time Liverpool gets there, he puts its fist, iron fist in there, go boom.
I was gonna say if there's a team to do it, there's only about 3 teams. So if,
I don't count Chelsea in it.
oh,
And Manchester United can't power Manchester City. Tottenham on a good day. And maybe, what's it called? Fulham. Maybe Fulham.
yeah, that was a little outside left field, but I think
Everton could possibly, right? Richarlison is dangerous.
yeah, they just need to go ahead and perform and get some W's. I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe. Did you say Leicester? I feel like Leicester is a poor man's Manchester City.
Well, I don't know about that. I think Leicester right now they've shown that they're either hot or they're not.
Right.
So they're either gonna go ahead and put a really good game on you, or they're gonna go ahead and give up three goals and have to struggle to get back in a game. I don't know how anyone's really going to stop Man City.
right? They do have some power in the middle, right? They play a 4-2-3-1,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they have Ndidi and Mendy, right? So they have um, engines, pushing this. The offense, right, really can afford to stay up a little bit more and can afford to make those runs, which they're known to make.
Gotcha. Next matchup we have is Everton versus Fulham. This is the last of our 9 a.m. on Saturday matches. Who do you think is going to take that one?
I think Fulham, right, is going to win this game because they just they've taken this time to gel a bit more, right? Seri is a big cog in the machine, and he just came from France like not even a year ago, just this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mitrovic is playing well, and I'm saying that I think that they'll just the more time that passes,
You see
right?
that team growing
Exactly.
the longer the year progresses.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Those are the words I'm looking for. And so I think at this moment they are at a time when they like the base is solid, so they can project, right? They can push more numbers up, and they'll get goals, and they will not get scored on too much. While Everton might be able to score, but I don't think they'll be able to penetrate, right? So I think Everton is more penetratable than Fulham.
Okay.
Right? Exactly.
You're a wizard with words, Sam
thank
D.
you, thank you, thank you.
Let's get into our next matchup. Saturday at 11:30 a.m. we have Chelsea versus Liverpool. This is probably the big, the hot matchup of the week. What do you see happening?
Chelsea is potentially a dangerous team, but again, I think they're playing a formation or type of formation that does not unleash these players that they have, right? Um, Liverpool,
I
just
think that's dangerous if Chelsea has. I think that sounds like untapped or unlocked potential that
right,
they could release at any point in the season, right?
exactly. I mean, that is what it is, right? But will they do it? They've not shown that they will do it.
Their record would suggest otherwise. As long as
Yes,
they can keep it up, I don't know how you're going to be able to stop the train. That's how they usually go. They like to keep the wins high and the losses low.
right. I'm saying, imagine you're a boxer, right? There's a guy who has this reach, right? Who has like I don't know, a 6 foot reach. Imagine,
Okay.
right? And then, but then he's only swinging at it at 3 feet, right? Every time he hits you hard enough to knock you out, right?
Okay.
But you're always 4 foot, right, away from him. That's what I'm saying, right? Or not always, but
So you're just not
exactly,
utilizing the potential of what you could do.
exactly. And I'm saying that again, from time to time, Hazard does get out of formation and does do his thing, but does he do it often enough? I'm saying, do they reach far enough often enough? I'm saying that they haven't, but in the times that they have, right, they've knocked out players, they've knocked out you know teams, and I think these are not necessarily the best teams measure how good they are. I think when they play against Liverpool, I think when they have they, I don't think they played Leicester. They played Leicester City, right? I don't think they haven't. They could play Manchester United, but Manchester United right now is a blunt
Yeah,
instrument.
they're not what they
No,
are supposed to be right now.
exactly, they're a blunt instrument. Right? So I think Liverpool's going to take this. I think it's going to be 3-1.
Ooh,
I think Liverpool, dude, looking at Alonso going up, right? He's going to be torn up. Chelsea is going to be looking for disaster if he goes up, right? The way that he does. Right?
mm-hmm.
I think he's too slow, right, to be able to recover in time. Yeah, he's good. He'll come up and he'll be dangerous, right? But he's dangerous, right? He gets you a chance at goal, right? You don't score. Guess who's open now?
That winger on the counter. So
Exactly.
that seems like give and take almost. Like it could be beneficial, it could be disastrous because it only takes one mistake
Exactly.
to lose
That's
a
what
game.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right? Salah just needs one chance,
Oh,
right? And
he is deadly.
the thing is, what's his Alonso moves too slow. He's gonna need a minute to go over there, and I'm saying Salah needs 10 seconds to get to the other side, right? So Salah might even just drop in to be able to deal with a bit of it, right? And then, boom,
Then explode out.
exactly. And
Nice.
Liverpool can literally just, what they'll do is they'll suck up everybody else, leave the three over there, right? Get the ball, 3 versus 3, right? Um, the other is again Jorginho getting that area around him, right? And being that he carries it up, right? Being that he's gonna be sort of like the one watching for loose balls, right? He's going to be matched up against the oncoming attacking mid. He's gonna be going against Firmino coming inside, right? So I'm saying that I think Liverpool is going to take them, especially with the 4-2-3-1, if they were to do something like that, right? Because the line of three would be right in front of the Chelsea defensive line, right? And these guys are good at coming back, getting the ball, and also they make runs out behind. And Chelsea's just back is too slow to deal with them.
Gotcha. Sunday's game at 10 a.m. is Cardiff City versus Burnley FC. Who do you have winning that game?
No, I went with Cardiff winning the game. I still haven't seen, I suppose, enough from Burnley to say that they're gonna keep going on this. I mean, it's not even a winning streak. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. And then the last matchup for Week 7 is Monday, 2 p.m. Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace. Who do you think's got that?
Bournemouth is going to win this game.
Close?
Um,
Not close?
yeah, it's gonna be 2-1. I suppose that's a safe score to call, but
Sounds good. And then I wanted to end on Luka Modric won Player of the Year. How do you feel about that?
the case to make for Luka Modric winning the Play of the Year, I don't know if it's as strong as one would have made for what's his name winning it, Schneider. Remember?
Hmm.
Remember that
Wesley
year?
Snyder?
Yeah, remember that year Wesley Snyder should have won. He what's it called? Inter had won the Champions League that year,
Hmm. And
right?
then that was when Netherlands were playing really well in the World
I
Cup.
think so. I think Netherlands did really well as well, and
That must have been when they tied. They lost to Spain.
yeah, yeah. I think it was a very strong case. I remember.
Okay.
I think this is a weaker case, right? Um, that year, everybody else I don't think was as good, right, as this year. And maybe I might be wrong. And also, like, he was more instrumental in that team than Modric was in the Real Madrid team. That Inter team was very much an underdog to win the Champions League. I mean, they were punching, like, you saw that they were working hard. Eto was dropping all the way back to right back. They were playing Mourinho style, right? But I'm saying Mourinho in a year, right? When this world against us against the world energy hasn't burnt you out, right? Eto was running, everybody was running, and they managed to run enough to stop Barca, to stop Bayern, and win that game. And Schneider was at the heart of this thing.
I will say that I think it's interesting. It breaks 10 years of either Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo winning this award. And both of them have won the award, I believe, 5 times.
Right. And so what I suppose why, right? Because we've counted goals to be so important until this point, right? Modric didn't score the most amount of goals, right? Did he get the most amount of
I
assists?
think
I
it'll
don't know
a
that
lot
either.
had to do with the World Cup and bringing the smallest country to the farthest that has ever been done.
Right.
Like they've never been to that's the smallest country to ever to be to a final.
Okay. Yeah, I get that, right?
And he was the influence around that team.
It's true.
So
Okay, so look at this team, right? Consider by name, Croatia is a smaller team than Holland, right?
Mhm.
Again, but we compare the players, right? Modric, right, happens to be one of the top players in the world, right? Right? But he also is accompanied by Rakitic, Perisic, Mandzukic,
Yeah.
right? I
He's
mean,
he's
that
good. This is a
team
good team. It's a good team.
is a better team, I argue, than
And they have a
the
good goalie,
team that
Subzovic.
exactly, right? I argue that that team is better than the team that Holland had, right? Under,
Oh, I don't know
yes,
about that.
who? They had Van
Robin,
Persie. Oh,
Van
Robin,
Persie.
good.
No, that was a great team.
Wait,
I don't
wait,
know.
but on
De
the
Jong.
look at defensively. Like after the attack, it wasn't very good.
Yeah. Okay. I get you. I get what you mean. It wasn't as strong a defensive, but we can also agree on this that we can
But
give.
I like that. I think it is a good thing, right, to give more importance, right, to other things that people do, right? Because not it's not only about scoring. There are teams that players that do so much for the team that allows for the scoring to happen, right? And we who know about soccer, right? Because obviously, if football is for everybody, soccer is for everybody, basketball is for everybody, but it is we at some point we have to say that it can't belong to everybody. Who does it belong to? It belongs to the people who watch it, the people you know what I mean,
Who
and
played? Who are
who
involved
play it,
with
who
it?
are involved, who know. For the majority of those people, it is important what one does besides just scoring.
Then also you want to be an accepting community to those who want to be like you, though.
What is
Who
it?
want to be able to be a part and say that they're a fan and say they're a part of the game and stuff like that, right?
Right. That's true.
That's
That's the
that's
other
all I
side
would
of it.
say. Yeah.
That's true. That's the other side of it.
But I do want to end on this. Marta, Brazilian international player, has the most Player of the Year awards amongst anyone with 6. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yo, it is impressive. That lady's nice, man.
She's a beast. She's the little. She should be the GOAT, shouldn't she? She's better.
Right,
She's got more than Messi and Ronaldo. How do you feel about that?
dude. So like to just make such a comment, right? Would sort of like I'd have to forget the difference again between male sports and women's sports. But that saying that, right? Marta happens to be one of those players that one could argue could
She's
play.
like a Serena
I
Williams.
think she could play. Like I don't know how Serena Williams would do against these top, the top of the top.
Well, obviously that's an individual sport compared to a
Exactly,
team sport. I'm just
exactly,
saying, but to be able to come out so praised in a team sport,
right.
that's pretty
That's what I'm saying.
impressive.
I think Marta, you could put her in a team, right, and I think she might be able to hold her own.
And we're gonna end on that. Thank you for listening in to Mainstream Matchups. I'm your host Tyler James, and I'm with your man Sam D, soccer analyst. Want to give a shout out?
Yo, thank you for having me. I'm always excited to be here. Um, Shout out to everybody out here just trying to survive in this Minnesota